Warning.
Watch very closely now. 3, 2, 1. Bzow! Check that out.
The following podcast features terrible jokes.
Did you know you can use Hot Wheels cars when you need to make a saving throw in D&D? Every car is die-cast.
Usually about board games.
We want the fun. Gotta have that fun.
Must insist that no one attempt to recreate any joke performed on this podcast.
We had less technical issues than $1 million company.
All right!
This is Boards and Swords.
Hello out there, everyone, and welcome to Boards and Swords. It's been a while, but we're back. This is a podcast where we've got bad jokes, good folks, and some tabletop gaming. I'm going to flip it over here, and we've got the normal crew of Mr. Philip Herbig down in the corner over there. How's it going?
What's going on, everybody?
And then also joining us this week, we have Gabby Carter from Brawlful of Sawdust. How are you doing?
Good. You said it right that time.
Yeah. I was mentioning
I heard him hesitate. He thought about it.
I did. I wanted to make sure. That's all. I was talking during the pre-show that for some reason my brain wants to correct to Stardust for some reason. But yeah, I happened to be at Nova Open and saw Gabby had a booth there with a bunch of amazing products. So just give us a little bit about what you do on your website.
Yeah, I do just high quality custom board game tables. I do custom furniture across the board, but I focus on board game tables because I really like it, and that's actually what's selling. So yeah, everyone, it's complete customizable. Whatever you want, I do Warhammer size. That's like the biggest one I do. You can play inside the table for Warhammer, and then I can go all the way down to like a coffee table size. And you can see those on my Instagram.
Nice, but it's not just the tables. You also saw you had a lot of accessories and stuff as well. I think
The accessories, yeah, they are specific to conventions right now until I get the website like more time to make accessories. I want to do DM screens or DM tables, but I've got some products here I could go over later and I can show off the different dice trays and dice towers and stuff.
awesome. But before we get to that, Philip, it's time to talk some news.
News.
All right. Starting off here. Hey, Darren's in the chat. How's it going? All right. I spent the weekend trying to put together some cheap Swedish furniture, but I was missing a part. Turns out it was the IKEA to everything. So I'm just gonna say we had a little bit of a setback because our previous guest, who is now going to be here on Wednesday, so some of these are like a month old or 2-3 weeks old at this point, but you'll get the more current news there. I want to make sure we go through them. Philip, you want to try and pronounce that?
Fangal Sahala.
Fangal Sahala. Good attempt, valiant effort.
Well, there's the umlaut over the A. It's probably more of a
Hmm.
Fangal Sahala.
I will take your word for it. So this will transform an IKEA instruction manual into a minimalist tabletop RPG. So I always try and find weird projects like this that are just kind of, it's not your, hey, here's a 5e source book or something. But, anyone that's gotten IKEA furniture, they got the books that have just kind of like the stereotypical, non-generic kind of character putting together things. It's a new independent tabletop RPG, Fingushahala, has adopted that same approach along with a bit of IKEA style for a minimalist title about dice, dungeons, and silly words. So Fang, for short, is specifically designed for one-shot adventures and undergirded by a system using 6-sided dice and as few words as possible. Chasing a certain strain of old-school game design, this funky RPG wants players deep in the woods as soon as possible. So it even uses Swedish words for its classes, like Ive, Darg, Kriegsman. I'm not even going to, but Elf, Dwarf, Warrior, Gnome, and Wizard for those that don't read Swedish. And once you've chosen that, you get an heirloom, a curse, and hit the cafeteria.
Sounds like it. I gotta say, I don't know if this is because I went to Gabby's website and Instagram, or if it's just because this is mentioning IKEA. But one of the ads on the page is for discount office furniture.
Yeah, so you can see like very much inspired by the that kind of IKEA instruction manual book. So yeah, the Kickstarter campaign is over because this was done beforehand, but I'm sure you could still late back to this or get it when it comes out in October. Looks like. Philip, I want to play this kind of.
Can we play it in an IKEA?
Until they kick us out.
Right? That'd be great.
All right. Moving on. There's a small river behind my house, so I decided to hang out by it and play video games all day. My friends asked me what I'm doing, and I told them I'm now a streamer. So, battle for subscribers in Streamer Standoff. Just when you thought there was a board game for everything, turns out there isn't.
We were missing a category.
Yeah, apparently. May 3rd, 2024, this game will come from Flat River Games. Designed by Jeb Havens and Bobby West, is the result of a collaboration between Maestro Media and streamer, content creator, and okay, so basically a streamer called Dr. Lupo is making a game about being a streamer.
Oh, come on, man. You had the perfect opportunity.
Yeah.
You're like streamer, content creator, billionaire, playboy, philanthropist.
In the Streamer Standoff, players take on the roles of influencers racing to build up their streaming channels. To gain followers, they will perform actions like doing viral dances blindfolded or doing a speed run. They can also advance their progress by completing trend cards as they become the first to hit 20 million followers. So that's a thing. It just reminds me of back in the day when I first got into like board games, and I was in my like Munchkin was like the epitome of board gaming to me. I mean, for Philip, it still is.
I was gonna say was, sir.
But Rusty Beetle, stop getting ahead of me on the news. It's coming. Actually, no, that's on Wednesday. You'll find that out on Wednesday. But I had that was also when I was listening to a lot of podcasts, and I was like, oh, what if there was like a Munchkin podcast version? And I'm glad I never followed through on that.
This is just reminding me of Yu-Gi-Oh! The card game, the board game.
Yeah. Sorry, you just reminded me. I saw just one of those like meme posts where someone's like, how in the Yu-Gi-Oh! World is not society upended by the fact that they find out that Egyptian gods are real?
See, that's a good point.
All right. A friend of mine started to get donations to start an aviary of black birds. He called it crowdfunding. All right. So this was big news when it came out. After making $100 million on Kickstarter, so CMON is now not going to be using Kickstarter anymore. But instead, they're going to be exclusive to Gamefound now.
Oh.
So this is actually a big deal. Because CMON is famous for using Kickstarter for a lot of the platforms. They're kind of usually what's held up as do these larger companies need to be using Kickstarter at this point? Blah 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 blah. But now they're going to be using Gamefound, which is the more board game focused.
Okay, I was about to ask that. Yeah.
The more board game focused crowdfunding site. Right now, well, yeah. So at February 16th, they released a statement, which was at the same time they were doing a Gamefound campaign for a skirmish-size version of their A Song of Fire and Ice tabletop minis game, which is just A Song of Fire and Ice Tactics, which is always funny because they can't use Game of Thrones because that's like another license. They have the license to like the books, but not the movies or the show. Plus, there's going to be a God of War board game adaptation. I'm extremely happy to bring CMON campaigns to Gamefound. They were not only pioneers in board game crowdfunding and the biggest crowdfunding creator of all time, but more importantly, are creating and delivering amazing games to customers all over the world, said Gamefound CEO. Which Gamefound was like, thank God somebody else. We got. Just thinking of the Ghostbusters movie when they finally get a call and Janine hits the button and is like, we got one. Kickstarter, I could have. CMON's one of those ones that could make Kickstarter kind of be like, uh-oh. Because, you know, they're often doing like multi-million-dollar Kickstarters.
Uh-huh. They
And, I mean...
Also, isn't CMON one of the ones who it's not exactly a Kickstarter, it's more like a pre-order?
Yeah.
Okay.
Which is why people are like, why do people use Kickstarter and blah, blah, blah. I mean, I know it's not...
It gets the information out there. I mean, some people troll, or not troll in the sense of peruse Kickstarter the same way other people troll Reddit in the morning or something like that.
Well, yeah, there is that. That is that's probably the biggest reason that they use Kickstarter versus doing like a pre-order system on their website, is there is that environment of Kickstarter of people that just browse stuff and like, whatever's trending on the top of the thing. But when I scroll through Reddit and I see people that are like, that's not what Kickstarter was founded for and blah, blah, blah. I'm like, these people don't understand the value of knowing exactly how much to print of something. Like, I see the business piece of this where it's like, it's like one of the biggest problems in publishing or producing anything is like, you don't want to make too, think of like the Lorcana stuff. You make too many and it just sits on a shelf and ends up in next year's discount bin. You make too little and it gets into a, frenzy and everyone's waiting, overnight at Gen Con to get into your line. Which, I mean, that's not a bad problem to have from a company standpoint. But you don't want the opposite problem, which is a lot easier to have if you have a game and it tanks. But with Kickstarter, if you have a game idea, you throw it up there, no one backs it, crap, you're out the development costs, but you're not out the, hundreds of thousands of dollars of products sitting on shelf.
Tooling and
yeah. Where it's like, you get a Kickstarter for 100,000. Say if it's a low one, like 100,000, like, hell, we'll make that much, maybe a little bit more to sell on our website and in our, at conventions, but we know that not print that much more. Whereas if it's doing gangbusters, like, okay, we're gonna like get those machines rolling. So
there we go.
So yeah, you're not gonna see. There's a reason Hasbro started their own. Like,
yep.
They started their own to be kind of like, hey, are things worth spending money on? Which sometimes they're wrong because I didn't put it in the news there, but HeroScape's coming back. The one with the hexagon terrain and the minis and stuff, which Hasbro tried to do like 3-4 years ago, but it was ridiculously expensive, and so nobody backed it, and they just
that's right.
Like,
Escape.
Yeah, you're thinking of HeroQuest.
More HeroQuest.
Yeah, exactly. But HeroScape was the one that like they had like a D&D set and like a Marvel set and all the different things, but now Renegade's bringing it back and it'll probably sell like hotcakes, but Hasbro missed out.
And Renegade, Renegade's got the backing for it.
Well, the problem is Hasbro tried to just like dip their toe in and like, we're not going to change anything. we're gonna sell it at this price point, and not that many people signed up. And instead of like altering anything, they're just like, nah, people don't want it. We're not gonna do it. So, I imagine. I mean, now in licensing, they're gonna be making a pretty penny.
Yep.
But moving on, if someone wrote a story about Jesus killing vampires, would that be a crossover? Magic Gathering plans to release 2 Tales of Middle-earth size crossover sets per year starting in 2025. So, big news. Thing that made money, they're going to do more of.
Hey.
Yeah, that's it's another thing. I have friends that, are former Magic players, and they're like, Wizards is killing Magic. And there might be truth to that. Because there's a lot of secondary markets. We had the story a while back of the Troll and Toad not doing Magic anymore because the secondary market's kind of dying. But in the short term, they're going to make a bunch of money because they have got like a rough calendar of premiere sets through 2026 that they're going to be doubling down on crossovers to keep them revenues up. So there's going to be, so they've already got in the works Final Fantasy, several Marvel themed releases. Oh, that's a good point. Does that mean there'll be another, quote, One Ring? I don't know, because that was very, specific to that lore.
Yeah.
Although,
Well, I mean, what could we have?
Marvel, you could have the Infinity Stones.
Yeah.
I could see something like that. I'm trying to see. Yeah, they've got a whole bunch of other stuff. They've become a massive revenue stream for Wizards of the Coast. They confirmed that they earned $200 million in under 6 months from Tales of Middle-earth and became the best-selling MTG set in its long history. Yeah, 5 of the 6 premier sets earned over $100 million. So if someone says, why are they doing that? Because it makes money. People
Okay, but
buy
how
it.
much of that was because people were trying to Willy Wonka and find that damn ring?
Maybe, but that's where you bring up the point I just talked about where, sure, it earned under $200 million in under 6 months, but 5 of the 6 premier sets earned over $100 million just on their own.
Yeah.
So it may not be as much as that, but they still make a pretty penny. Was it Fallout?
I'm actually also liking
Fallout's
the
coming out right
ability
now?
on the Michonne card.
Oh, really? I didn't see
Yeah,
that.
like I'm reading those. I'm like, that's actually really good for a card.
Oh, that is pretty cool.
Yeah, I'm like, I'll take one, please. Thank you.
Yeah, that's already been because they kind of started teasing it with their like secret lair, which were like their collectors sets. Like that's where the Walking Dead stuff was, and then they started bringing it into Commander decks, and then full on sets. I think the Tales of Middle Earth was like the first one that was like a full on set.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. There can be only one ring.
Oh, could that be? Oh, no.
We believe that the brands that will be shipping in 2025 have the same carrying power as Lord of the Rings. We think we'll have a similar uplift as we did for Lord of the Rings, and that's underlying a lot of our bullishness on the growth of Magic. Which, if they've got Marvel, then that's definitely going to happen.
Oh, okay, gotcha. I was gonna say, like, what other franchise has, like, you put all the movies on back to back, and you've got 24 hours. And it's like, Marvel.
Yeah.
Which I think is up to like almost 48 now.
Yeah, probably. But yeah, they got the Fallout stuff's coming out right now, and I think they also announced like Assassin's Creed. The Final Fantasy one is crazy because there's a Final Fantasy CCG also that like does really well in like Japan from what I hear. But it's also available over here. So that's just crazy. It's like it's already a CCG property that is going to be in a different You got your CCGs and your CCGs. There are 20 rings, so yeah. What started with fun reprints sold via Secret Layers ballooned to pre-constructed commander decks featuring Warhammer and Fallout, and then complete premiere sets that rival 5 other core releases each year. They've hosted Jurassic Park, Street Fighter. I didn't know about Street Fighter. Doctor Who, My Little Pony, Godzilla, and The Walking Dead. Poster 40K is there is a King Arthur set. People can search for Excalibur. That seems like, with it being public domain, something that there's probably a plane that they did that's like off-brand Arthur. But all right, last news story here. If you got bread from various different universes, I didn't even plan for that to trade in, but if you got bread from various other universes, would that be considered multigrain? I see Philip's face like, where's he going with this?
Yeah, like, where are we going? What are we doing here?
All right. So the next adventure that's coming out, the biggest official adventure for Dungeons and Dragons, Thanosifies Vecna in a multiverse-spanning campaign. Stop me if you've heard this one before. All worlds are in peril. So releasing on May 21st. What was that?
I said, I'm kind of digging this. All right.
Releasing on May 21st, Vecna Eye of Ruin is a full campaign-style book that will carry 10th level characters all the way to level 20, the very pinnacle of D&D's power curve. And groups will likely need all of that mechanical juice to save the very multiverse from Vecna, a lich who has haunted the popular tabletop RPG settings since the very first edition. Publisher Wizards of the Coast described it as a high-stakes adventure in which the fate of the entire multiverse hangs in the balance, and players will begin in the familiar climes of 5e's Forgotten Realms before bebopping to several other universes that once act as D&D's setting du jour. It'll bring Planescape, Spelljammers, Eberron, Ravenloft, Greyhawk, and even Dragonlance under the Whispered One's itchy thumb. So, yeah, we don't need a Marvel-fied D&D.
So they talk about it, and they're like, "Oh yeah, we're not going to bother." Vecna doesn't justify his genocide like Marvel's villain with a chin.
Yeah.
So what we do, we homebrew this just a little bit, and we start yanking characters from different campaigns, just like What If.
Yeah. One section of the official description even reads, Archmages assemble. Oh, speaking of this, so I got thinking about this just because it talks about all the way to level 20. And if you've ever played D&D, once you get past like level 10, 12, that kind of thing, you start to realize that, like, you know, martial characters kind of stay at a very same pace, and spellcasters become ridiculously powerful. Did I send you, Philip, that TikTok from the?
I did see that one. Yep.
Ben. So there's a comedian on Twitter or on TikTok called Ben Brainerd. He does like recreations.
He does the states around the table.
Yeah, states around the table, and like he does dress up as like Florida and stuff. But he wrote a source book to try and like reduce that gap in power curve to give martial characters more of a bump up. So, how many people actually get up to level 20? Fair point, which is probably why they never address it, but it's still a thing. But if that's something that interests you, that may need to try and find a link to that and put it in the description. But yeah, levels 5 through 12 is a solid range for play. But it is nice that there is one adventure that they could point to be like, you know, if you really want to devote the time to get to level 20, then like, here you go. And you start at level 10. So that's one thing. So technically, you could play another adventure, and then when they usually stop in the around 10 to 12-ish range, jump into this one, and then like, okay, now we're going to make our characters gods, basically.
Oh, there it is.
Also, Rusted
Found the
Beetle,
book.
you asked. I did play with my Doctor Who commander decks, and I actually really enjoy them. I haven't played them much recently, but I did play them a couple times when I actually got them. I've been too busy painting, painting miniatures. But
What is this playing to level 20? You've got the guide right in front of you. Just make it.
what do you mean?
Huh? You don't have to. Well, he's talking about like play. He's never played to level 20. Okay,
Oh,
just
yeah.
make the level 20 character. Just level him up. There's no rules.
Yeah. Yeah, it's called. He says, yeah, it's called Monty Cook's Tolus. That's a whole setting, though. And I actually have that. It's huge. That book is like ridiculous. It's like 2 of these 3 packs of books put together. One of those, like, you open it up and it like the binding, almost you feel it like cracking under the weight of just all the pages. All right. And with that, that's the end of the news. I talked about it before we went live, but I'm actually not going to do a Patreon plug as motivation to kick my butt into gear and actually get out the dice that our current existing patrons need to get. So I've got all the mailing stuff. I just have to get the scale out and do all that stuff. But because of that, I'm going to skip our Patreon plug. But I will say everyone should join the Discord, boardsandswords.com/Discord. Lots of cool stuff there, and there's channels where you can submit news stories, and they will most of the time appear in here in some form or fashion. But with that, we'll turn back to Gabby, and you can kind of tell us how you got started with, woodworking in general.
Okay, yeah. I actually went to Virginia Commonwealth University for theater construction. So I went there to learn how to build sets for theater, and I ended up doing theater and television production after college. But while I was there, I took some fine woodworking classes and fell in love with the actual like fine woodworking aspect of construction. But my degree was in theater, so I just stuck with that and did theater for 4 years out of school. Even became a production manager of the company I worked at, and I was like, I want something more fulfilling. And then I did like prototype furniture there, and I actually made my first game table there. From the company I worked for made the set for the Commission on the Presidential Debates for 2016
Oh, wow.
between Trump and Hillary. Yeah, and I made the moderator tables, and the one that what's his name, Anderson Cooper and his co-part did for the vice presidential debate, I think. That desk came back and it was going to be trash. And so I actually modified it to a board game table and gave it to my cousin for his wedding present.
Nice.
That one might actually be on my website if you go to the what is it?
portfolio.
Not the portfolio. I forgot what it's called. The blog. I think it's the blog tab, and you can
Okay.
scroll all the way down because this was in like 2016, 2017. But you'll see the before and after picture. It's super cheesy. I put a lazy Susan in the middle and threw some cup holders on it and modified the base and put fabric and stuff on it.
Oh,
But
okay.
I was able to just test out
Oh,
ideas
yeah, here it
there.
is.
It's super cheesy. I don't make anything like it now. Please don't judge me on that. But that's what it looked like before as the desk. And then I cut the base up and added cup holders. It sits 8 people and the middle spins around and stuff. And then I did a light up LED grid for them as well. But that's their basement. That was their basement at the time in their townhouse. But that was like my first accomplished game table, I guess. And then I left the theater industry and went into furniture, and I worked for a small furniture shop to gain more skills and knowledge and stuff. And then I went full time with Brothel of Sawdust last year, with just people placing orders. I had enough custom work to do. Not just game tables, but I do custom furniture as well. So I did a big bar top for a restaurant last year. I haven't posted that on Instagram yet. Um, but yeah, that's kind of where I started theater and worked my way up while doing side projects to find what I really wanted to do. I told myself 8 years ago when Geek Chic was around. I don't know if
Yeah.
you remember Geek Chic. I was like, I want to do that for a living. I'm going to make board game tables. And I made it happen.
All right, I'm gonna pause. The video captures so the reel doesn't. But I've got your Instagram pulled up here, and this is actually really cool. It's something I hadn't seen, and it just seems so obvious now. Where you've got a coffee table, and everybody's got the rails with like the accessories that.
hmm
But yours are actually the table covers. You take them off, and
That
now
you
they become.
reuse.
Yeah, that's such a cool
Yeah,
idea.
yeah. I fell in love with the idea when I came up with it. The whole multi-purpose function. And so that went viral on TikTok actually. And someone from close to me, like in Virginia, because I live in Virginia, they found me on TikTok and was like, "Hey, I also live in Virginia. Can you make this in a dining table size?" And so I did. You can reuse the dining table toppers, flip them over, and slide them underneath. But it's because they got a smaller dining table.
Right.
There are videos actually on the Instagram as well, or TikTok. I posted that a year or two ago when I did that. Um, but it doesn't work for the bigger tables because the leaves get longer, so you can't really
Mhm.
tuck them under, and they'll stick out too far. But yeah, I love the coffee table.
Is that
I made
is that this
one
one?
for that one is the no, I was gonna say that's the one I shipped out to Chicago last summer for one of the guys that runs Nova Open.
Ah,
Oh,
okay.
nice.
Yeah, he's on the board of Nova Open and saw it, and he was like, "I want one of these. I'll do whatever it takes to get one." And so he wanted out of walnut. I actually drew that graphic on Adobe Illustrator and picked the colors and stuff and custom printed it on neoprene and shipped it out to him.
Probably a pretty penny just doing that.
Yes, shipping. He had like a he was able to use his business or UPS red number or whatever,
Right.
so shipping wasn't a big deal. But I was able to get it to him no problem. I had to make his own crate to keep it super protected
Yeah.
and like figure
Yeah.
out how to connect the parts and bolt them together and stuff. So it was really nice to be able to have that kind of funded in a way so I can problem solve it now with someone, and then now I can offer it to people. It's like, hey, I could ship coffee tables now. They just got to pay for the shipping, which is going to be a lot. Like I did an estimate; it could be anywhere from $600 to $1,000 depending on where you are, because it's so heavy.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
Uh-huh.
that's them logistics pieces where
Oh, that is a lot.
you get what you pay for. So you
Yeah,
want high quality, you gotta pay high dollar.
yeah. I don't put anything in cardboard boxes like furniture. I try not to put in cardboard boxes. I'll put them. I built a crate out of like OSB plywood and stuff. Um, that way it can get there safely.
So if somebody moves, they could just put it back in the crate.
Right, they can, but
Right? They've got to.
the crate was really big for that coffee table.
You just have to save it. That's all. You just have to have the storage space
Right.
for it. So what?
The gaming tables come apart. They
Ah,
each
okay.
the legs and the sides all bolt together. Each seam gets 4 bolts apiece, so there's no wobbling because they're called aprons that connect the legs together.
Mm-hmm.
Um, those are almost 6 inches deep, so you got enough bolts in there so it doesn't wobble or anything. And if you're local to the area or anywhere on the East Coast, really, I've been offering to drive the table there and I put it together myself. I usually bring a partner with me. And the people would watch me and my partner put it together so they know how to take it apart if they ever move.
That that makes sense, because yeah, you definitely don't want to be figuring that out and like, I over torqued this and stripped the screws or whatever. But what about the gaming side? So how did you get into gaming in general?
Oh, I when I went to college, I found gaming. Like
Yeah, it
I was
happens.
in theater. Theater's got like a bunch of nerds in it. I got close to like one or two guys that were in the theater department there. We started playing Magic the Gathering together. And and then we started playing just other games. Like one guy had Catan on the shelf, so we just started playing that. And then I got introduced to Munchkin. I had a friend who really liked Munchkin, and I played that. I don't play Munchkin anymore.
Blasphemy!
I'll play it with friends, like with people who have never played before once in a while, but like, I played it so much. Catan and Munchkin I played so much in college. I'm like, I want new stuff, give me new stuff. But gaming, I just don't know. I don't know why I fell in love with it. I love rules and just systems and problem solving, like woodworking, problem solving. It just kind of comes hand in hand for me. At one point, I think I had about 100 games, and I recently moved up to Northern Virginia, so I got rid of a couple that I didn't play. So I'm probably around. I think I'm around 60 board games. I would think.
Yeah, you get
But
that
I
high,
like it.
and then you're like, I gotta have space for all these.
Yeah. Well, actually, hold on one second. I bought a board game about woodworking.
Oh, nice.
I don't know if you can see it because of the blur, but
Yeah.
there we go.
There we go. Hey, all right.
It's called Woodcraft. I haven't played it yet, but I saw it on Instagram and I had to get it.
That's pretty. As we found out in the news, they will make a board game about anything.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, and I also play D&D. I run my own virtual group, so my brain works with my hobbies. So it's like when I build a board game table, I know what you're looking for. I'll ask what you're looking for. I'm learning a lot about Warhammer, going to the conventions and stuff. I have Marvel Crisis Protocol. I've played it once. I just don't have a group to play with, or like friends, and I play that more and get to learn that system. But yeah, I like the whole just board game community.
It must be nice to be able when you're like, I wish I had a thing that did blank, and you're like, I can go make that.
Yeah. I actually had a 3D printer, but I sold it because I found myself making cool things on it. But I was like, I could just make this quicker out of wood than waiting 24 hours for it to print on the 3D printer.
When you got those skills, man, you put it to work.
Yeah, well, so I have a laser engraver. I'll go over my products now. I have a laser cutter on my premises here. So this is a Magic the Gathering Commander box. It's got a leather strap that holds it, and the lid comes out, and it all flexes on the wood itself here.
That's pretty cool.
And if it's 100 card sleeved or double sleeved, with like room on the side to put like token cards and stuff, and it just, if you pull up on the leather strap, it locks it so like it doesn't come out. I've got the dice towers that I also laser, nice and thin and narrow.
Yeah, and you did looks like the Nova Open one specifically, or at least you had some Nova Open towers. I saw that on the Instagram as well.
Those were for prizes. Yeah, I do
Gotcha.
prize support for them, so the year before I did dice trays. Last year I did towers and trays. But yeah, so I've got 5 different colors of woods that I laser. This one's sapele mahogany.
Nice.
The one before this walnut. And then
we're already
the other thing.
We're getting requests. Rusted Beetle in the chat wants to know if Adepticon is too far to travel to sell for convention space.
Well, so my dream is to travel to all the conventions. Because I'm being the business owner, I want to do the sales. I like selling and designing. I want to get people to make stuff for me and like have my own shop with people in it and teach them how to do the things I do for the board gaming stuff. And then I'll do like super custom pieces, or I want to do all the conventions and travel and take all my stuff with me. So yeah, that is a dream, is to go to, I think Origins is a big one too.
Yep.
So yeah, I hope to make it there. Big dream Gen Con, but there's a lot of people there that make tables. I don't know if I want the competition.
Right.
I'm more of a custom, not cookie cutter style. Some of them will look the same because there's only so many options, but I want to stay close to custom tables.
There's only so many ways you can make 4 legs with a nice compartment table.
Yeah, exactly.
But that's where some
the
of the,
last item.
some of the accessories come in handy because not everybody can afford a table, but like a DM screen
Right,
or
that's why I offer them.
Yeah.
Yeah. This is a spell tracker where you put a 6-sided die in here. For D&D or Pathfinder, so you put 2 dice in here for your spell save DC or your spell save DC and then your attack bonus.
Nice.
And you can put D20s or D10s in there because the numbers go over 20 and stuff. And then a dice tray. This one's walnut also. These are all handmade by myself. The dice trays are all solid hardwood. And then last year I released a dice box. This one's walnut. This is all I have left from Nova Open actually. But there's magnets
Oh
that
yeah.
keep it together.
And it's big
Come on,
enough
I just
that you could actually use it as a dice tray too.
yeah. So you could put your dice and your
Nice.
minis here, and then the other side does act as a dice tray. And then they just stick together like that.
Nice.
So I do want to get a store up and running eventually when I can make the product line for it. Like you guys were talking about Kickstarter and stuff. I gotta make all the stuff first, or try to get like pre-orders
Yeah.
to support that, and then I gotta take a break from custom to make all the stuff. So it's like I am a one-person shop. That's why the website it's kind of outdated. So if anyone wants to check my stuff out, go to my Instagram, and you can reach out to me on my website. I've got a contact form there, or you can just email me directly, brawlfulofsawdust@gmail.com.
So I gotta ask because I feel like as soon as I think like custom like board games and wood, I gotta know, has anybody ever asked to do a wooden Catan? Because I feel like that would be a popular thing.
No one's asked, but I've wanted to because I have a laser engraver.
Yeah.
I've always wanted to make my own like wooden Catan. And when I had my 3D printer, I actually wanted to 3D print almost like valleys, like
Mm.
hexagons with valleys, and put like tiny bricks and sheep and stuff in them, like little cups. And so instead of cards, you would hold like little tokens of these 3D printed things. But then people would know like what you have and stuff. But yeah, I've thought about. I've actually wanted to do. I have a whole list of products I want to sell, like custom DM screens and that flip around and do all the stuff that you see online. But I want to make Catan coasters or like a cutting board.
Oh.
That'd be cool if you made like a Catan cutting board with like the whole map engraved on it and stuff. But just like board game themed home decor. I think that would be really
Yeah.
fun.
Or the cutting board that's all a bunch of the hexes put together that splits into coasters.
Yeah, see, it's like stuff like that. I think that'd be really cool.
Awesome. Well, I think we can. I'm going to put your knowledge to the test a little bit here.
Oh boy. Okay.
So, Philip, I got a game show for us.
All right. Okay. What do we got?
You remember AI or actual?
AI or actual?
Yep. So, the way this works is I went and I actually found a website that was like the 10 best woods you've never heard of. All right. And I've got them on here. And at the same time, I went into ChatGPT and said, give me a whole bunch of fake woods that sound real. And so
Okay.
the way this works is I'm going to give you a pair of woods. One of those woods is real, and one was made by a computer. And in fact, a lot of times I even made sure to search the fake woods because sometimes they gave me actual woods. And I was like, ChatGPT, that's not what I asked for.
So do you want me to guess too?
Yes. So this is what's going to happen is, Gabby, I'm going to give you the two, and you're going to tell me which one is the real one. And then, Philip, you get to bet on whether she's right or not.
Okay. All right.
But I want to try to be right, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
So you'll get points, and then Philip gets points based on whether he guesses right. So, all right. Here we go. First one. So you're going to tell me which one is the real wood. Is it Kimberly Bay Pine or Starlight Cedar?
I would think the pine.
All right. Philip, is she right or is she wrong?
I'm gonna trust the woodworker.
Okay.
I haven't heard these, so
All right. Well, this one was kind of a gimme, and it is the Kimberly Bay pine. I had to throw
Okay.
that one in because my dad sells Engineer Lumber, and their company produces a pine called Kimberly Bay pine. So
okay.
I had to kind of throw that one. That was not on the Ten Woods one, but I feel like my dad would personally drive up and give me a talking to.
Chris, you know there's this thing that I make that's real.
Yeah.
You can talk about it, man.
Yeah. All right. Next one. You have, is the real wood ember wood or is it mopane? Mopane.
No pain, no gain.
I think Ember.
All right. Philip?
Emberwood?
All right, Philip. Is she right or is she wrong?
I'm gonna say mopane.
Mopane is the actual
Mm.
wood. Ember wood was fake. Philip, I also
Okay.
believe that's the first time you've ever gotten one of these right. Because usually when I do the AI or actual, he always guesses the AI one.
I'm consistent. I consistently know what a computer's gonna make. There we go.
You just got to pull
So
you just got to pull a George and think of opposite your first.
There we go. Yeah, that's right. That's right.
but that means you are a computer then, right?
Oh.
if you're
That's been our
always
show.
AI.
Da-na-na-na-na-na-na-na.
The next ones are going to get a little difficult because after this, I started making them very similar to each other. So, is the real wood Siberian frostwood or Burmese blackwood?
You're just naming like two places and putting wood after it, so it's like it could be.
I did search to make sure that the fake one was a fake thing.
Siberian?
No, Burmese
Alright.
blackwood is the actual wood. I didn't ask you, Philip. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I was gonna say. I'm gonna say that she was gonna be wrong on that one there, Chris.
Yeah. just assume I'm gonna be wrong. How about that?
All right, two more. I won't torture you too much longer. You probably will just flip a coin on this one, but is the fake wood Catalox or Glow-Ox? I'll spell those Katalox or Glowox.
Catalogs?
Catalox is the real one.
Okay.
And once again, Philip, I forgot to ask you.
It's okay. It's okay.
It's
It's
because
okay.
I'm taking too long.
I was hoping it was Glow-Ox because I was gonna look it up and be like, what wood glows?
All right.
Really wanted it to be that.
This last one, it was last for a reason. It's a tricky one. So I'll give it to Philip first. That way I don't forget him.
Okay.
We'll put the thing on the Polonia. So Paulownia. So Paulonia or Tormentosa. Tomentosa.
I'm gonna say Paul is the fake one.
Paul is the fake one. Okay.
Yes, that's what I'm going with.
Gabby, what do you think?
I'm gonna go opposite him.
Well, that was a trick question. They're both technically the same wood.
So they're both real.
Well, it is the full name of one wood. The scientific name for Polonia is Paulownia tomentosa is the scientific name, and I just broke it up and gave you.
Okay.
I'm gonna yeah, okay. All right. I got you there, buddy.
I didn't know they're gonna be trick questions.
Aha! Here, I'll post just for information. I'm posting it in the chat. The website I use, it's got pictures of the woods. So if you're curious what mopane
Wood
looks
database.
like, or what Burmese blackwood looks like, it doesn't have the Kimberly Bay pine. You'd have to search that one. But
I do have a wood Bible around here somewhere. I could have just sat here and like flipped through all the pages.
cheating. Well, awesome. Thank you so much, Gabby, for coming on the show and talking about your stuff.
Yeah, I actually wanted to mention that I'm gonna be at Richmond Open
Oh yeah,
this
that is
May.
coming up.
Yeah,
Oh.
that'll be. They've got tickets for sale already and tournament tickets for sale. They're doing pretty well. This is their third year, and they keep getting more and more people every year. It's on May the 4th weekend, so they're doing Star Wars themed stuff, which will be really really cool. And then I am going to be at Nova Open again, and both of those I'm going to be bringing a demo table so people can come and actually
Ooh,
experience the table. Yeah.
nice. Well, I'll be. Speaking of, I just bought my tickets for that this past weekend, so yeah, I'll be there as well.
Yeah, Nova. They just went for sale on Friday or something.
Yep. Yep. I did it first. I paid a ridiculous amount of money for a art session.
Mm.
Because normally I've been of the
Oh.
opinion of like, I'm not going to pay $40, $50, $60 for a tutorial. I could buy a mini for that price and just look on YouTube. But I decided, I was like, I'll give it a try. So there was Sam Lenz does a whole bunch of painting stuff online on various channels, and he's doing a course on wet blending, which is something I hear about all the time. And so I decided to pay the like $50 or whatever it was to do that. So,
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm always at like the booth at the conventions. I never leave because I'm
Yeah.
usually there by myself. So
Yeah.
I'll try to this Nova Open. I had a friend come and help me, so I was able to go and look at things. So maybe I'll go do some sort of class or actually like watch people play Warhammer
Yeah.
and like learn about the people, like what they're buying.
Well, you're lucky in the sense of Northern Virginia. You have the wealth of gaming stores in that area
That's
that
true too.
you can
Yeah.
easily drive. You just throw a rock and you'll hit somebody playing Warhammer.
Yeah.
But are you gonna see the like 10-yard square Titan battles happening on the floor?
That is true. You don't get that.
Yeah.
That is
It is
true.
cool to watch everyone in a big room just like playing.
Yeah. Especially when the Titan thing, where they're like size of people's children.
Oh yeah. Which when we were there was like a toddler running around
Like
in between the Titans.
I would not be comfortable with that. I'm like, no. Anything else that other coming up that you want to talk about, or any other projects you're working on that you want to tell people about?
I've got a long list of tables, or a wait list now. So if people want a table right now, it'd be good to get on it. I've got 5 on order right now, so it's gonna be the wait time's probably up to 10 months now. Just because I put a lot. It's like I said, I've been saying it's just me, so I put all my work one table at a time, sort of thing. And they're completely customizable. You get like a 3D model that I put together,
Ooh.
not in real time, but like on SketchUp, I draw up a 3-dimensional model and go through the design with you and make sure it's actually what you want. I haven't had anyone ask for a TV in the middle yet. I offer it, but
That's
no one.
surprising, because I feel like that is become a very popular thing.
Yes.
It is, but most people just want to play Warhammer. All these people, I think there's one person that
Yes.
wants a regular table, but most people just want a 4x6 inside to play Warhammer in, so they could like pause their game and put the panels on and then play another game on top of it.
Yeah. That does make sense. If you're,
I don't know.
if you're
I'd kind of
tending-
be interested. She said like a 3D. I would like a smaller version of my table
I was saying, as
to
soon
like
as she
put on
said,
top of my table.
yeah, as soon as she said that, I'm like, you could 3D print it and then be like, look, here's the tiny scale version of my table.
Yeah, I've thought about that too. I could do that with the laser engraver and actually like make all the pieces that fit. Like I could make tiny table parts and then glue them all together and give you like an actual 3-dimensional tiny table for your dollhouse if you
So
want.
you can like squint at a distance and like hold it up and see how it fits in your room. So like,
Yes. Yeah.
it's
exactly.
like the Amazon like the show me in my room space. You just have to like kind of hold it at the right the right distance.
Yeah.
So yeah, so you said 10 months is, so say somebody say somebody gets on your wait list now, is that 10 months until you'll talk to them and start getting ideas for their table, or is that all the way to completion?
That is so no, so 10 months would be when I probably would either, because it's all relative.
Dependent,
Like it's like
yeah.
it depends on how long the others take, how intricate theirs are. Um, so I've already had their design meeting. So before that, before 10 months, I would have a design meeting with you within the next couple months or so, virtually or in person if you're close enough. And then I will work on the design, the model, send you like 3 different options because there could be a different layout that you like or something you might have not thought of that I threw in there or something you thought of that I was like, "We'll try it and test it out." Like one person saw me at Nova Open and they do a podcast as well, a role-playing podcast, and they want a trapezoid table. So when
Oh,
they
yeah.
if they get into streaming, they want it to fan out. And I was like, all right, well, let's try it. So I'm going to draw it up and see if I can make it work for them. So everything's just completely customizable and it depends. So the design time, because it's so far out, I don't want to do it right now. I would like wait a month. I usually try to do like a design every month or so just so people can get on the wait list and on the board and place their deposits and stuff. So that way they have their place in line. That's the
Yeah.
scary part about running a business is like I need you to follow through so I get the collect deposits ahead of time to make sure, I have that work 10 months from now.
Right.
So I'll start probably between 8 to 10 months out from now if the other tables went along really well and didn't hit any kinks or whatever.
So
So
I just might as well, since we're on the subject. Granted, everything's variable because I know it depends on the type of wood and the type of what all customizations, but just in general, if you were talking to somebody and they wanted to get like a scope of how much a custom table would cost, what would you give them as far of like a range?
so what I've been telling people uh is that there's 3 different sizes in the dining tables. I do the coffee table size, but I don't know, you're not asking about that really. The dining table, there's a medium, large, and extra large, and the extra large is the Warhammer size. I
Right.
haven't gone any bigger than that yet. So the medium will start around 5,000 and can go up depending on your features. The large will probably start around 6,000. I try to do like 1,000 in between.
Yeah.
The large will start around 6,000 and go up depending on your wood and your features and
Right.
stuff. And then the extra large starts around 7,000
Okay.
and goes up from there depending on your stuff.
All right. That's, I mean, like, granted, it's not pocket change, but at the same time, that does seem pretty about reasonable for something that you could get custom versus a lot of the other companies that are kind of mass producing these gaming tables. They're kind of in that same ballpark.
But I want to try to stick around that same ballpark because I understand people, like I understand the competition and stuff, and I know I offer the customization option. So if it's a little harder to customize, that price is going to go up significantly.
Yeah.
If it's something that I've been doing for a while, like cup holders, I'm not going to add $1,000 for cup holders,
Right.
So it's like everyone wants something different. And then the inside surface is neoprene, but I've found gaming suede that other companies have used,
Okay.
or or dynamic gaming suede, and so I offer that, but that's still like a next tier up. That's going to add a couple $100 to the price, but it is a nicer material. So there's just little stuff like that adds up.
All right. Yeah, that's awesome. And like I said, your website, brawlfulofsawdust.com, but you mentioned earlier that a lot of the more recent products you can find on your Instagram, which is also Brawlful of Sawdust.
Yeah, Brothel of Sawdust, all platforms. I link my Facebook to it, so if people like Facebook better, you'll see the same posts that I post on Instagram. And then the website I'm going to update soon. I've got some friends that want to help me and take better pictures of my products and stuff. And then eventually I'll hopefully get my smaller items on the store that people could just buy and I can ship them out and stuff.
Awesome. Well, I think that's going to wrap us up here. So I'm going to roll that music and hand it off to Philip.
That's been our show, everybody. We want to once again thank Gabby from Brawl Full of Sawdust for coming on and putting up with our shenanigans. If you want to check out what we're doing, you got to head over to boardsandswords.com /schedule. I forgot what it was. It's been a while. /live. boardsandswords.com/live. That's got the links to where we stream, when we stream. It also has all of the is all the backlog still on there, Chris? All the stuff we've used to been doing?
Yeah, it's on.
Okay.
I mean, it's on the full website, but yes,
it's on the full website, guys.
It's
so
not
dive
all
into
on that one
boardsandswords.com.
page.
Well, I mean, it could be. Yeah, head on over to boardsandswords.com and you'll see all the stuff we've done in the past and maybe what we could bring back in the future.
Yeah. And yeah, and the first thing I do whenever there's an issue and we need to reschedule a show or anything, the first thing I do after I tell Philip is I go to the calendar and update it so that everyone knows, what to expect. So if you keep an eye on that and for whatever reason you're looking for us and like, why aren't they live? boardsandswords.com/live and you'll see, oh, it got moved to next week because, life happens. We had Xander from FFG is going to be on Wednesday to talk about the Star Wars Unlimited card game. Last minute, something came up. Life happens. My wife was like, well, why can't you do a show without the guests? I'm like, well, because the entire show planned was the guests. So the problem when you have more of a guest format is when you don't have the guests, you don't have the show. So, like I said, boardsandswords.com for links to everything, like our Patreon. It's also got all the contact details. Feedback at boardsandswords.com. Let us know who else we should get on the show. But check it out. We'll be back on Wednesday this week to talk again. But after that, we'll be back in 2 weeks with another show. In the meantime, remember that every gamer has a story, and this one was made out of wood. All right. Good night, everybody. Thank you, everyone, for joining in.